Good afternoon, friends. Imagine you are a young Ugandan, which age bracket, by the way, makes up the biggest percentage of our population. So imagine you are this young Ugandan. You don't have a varsity degree. You're not skilled in any profession, and you're probably a dropout or a single mother or even a teenage mother. And for some years, you've tried everything and it has failed. And what you see as your available options is actually to leave the country. Go work in countries, maybe Dubai, maybe Qatar, maybe Saudi Arabia, or maybe even somewhere else, as that's been the case for many years for many youths, by the way. Now, most of these young people leave the country for various reasons, and the government wants to make a move to restrict unskilled laborers from going abroad and encourage more of the skilled laborers to leave the country. Now, we all know most of these people who leave, they go work especially those who live for the Middle East, they go work in these countries, and whatever they are doing is not what they studied, So it makes them sort of unskilled laborers. Now, what I want to ask today is, if you are telling these people not to go abroad and they stay in Uganda, what are you creating for them back home? And more importantly for this channel, can poultry farming be a solution to this problem? As farmers here, we know it's one thing to tell someone to stay and don't go, but it's also another to make them stay. This is the conversation I want us to have this afternoon. But before we do that, hey guys, welcome to Seme Chickens. Today is day 10 officially, and let me show you how the birds are doing before we delve into the discussion. As you can see, the birds are doing fine. I weighed them yesterday and they were weighing 273 grams. That's the average weight. Our target for this week, that's week 2, we are supposed to hit a target of 430 grams. And we're just 2 days into week 2. So we are quite optimistic that we will actually hit this mark, because there are even birds I weighed and they were weighing, they were already in 300 grams plus. So we are doing fine. As you can see, there are a couple of changes we made already. We introduced the big feeders, and we also started mixing feeds for our birds. However, we are doing it still gradually. If you can see, in this mixture, they still starter crumbs. So we are doing this gradually in order not to shock our birds. Even the change of feeders, we're still maintaining the smaller feeders. The same with the drinkers, and very soon we are going to leave the brooder. As you can see right now, the stove has no fire because it's hot. Let me show you the temperature. It's 32 degrees Celsius. So clearly, we do not need fire in here. What is missing in here is water. And Fazil, Amazi, you bring water for these chickens. And as for you, let's get back to the video. I fully understand what the government is trying to do. There are legitimate concerns, because I have close relatives who are actually working in the Middle East, Dubai, but there are legitimate concerns. People are exploited. Girls and boys out there, they are exploited, especially those working in construction, those working as house managers. They're exploited. Some are not even paid. Actually, others are even abused sexually. Others are beaten up. There are these offices that connect them to jobs. And once the girls maybe sort of get a misunderstanding with their bosses, these girls are beaten up. There are so many legitimate concerns, and I would really understand why the government is taking such a move. However, there is another side to the story. Most of these people don't just leave. They don't just leave because they hate the country, or, it's just for the love of travel or exploration. most of these people who are leaving, you realize that they are, like I mentioned, they are single mothers. Literally, they have no way they can take care of themselves and their children. Others, they want to pay fees for their children. Others want to support their parents. Others want to build a decent house. Others are looking for capital. Others actually leave because most of these jobs are paying way more than what they're being paid back here in Uganda. So it's not just a matter of just telling these people don't go abroad, but the question is, what are you giving them to make them stay? This is where agriculture enters into the conversation. I'm a poultry farmer, and naturally I'm going to, view this from the perspective of poultry farming. It's undeniable poultry farming is quite profitable, but if you told a young man who wants to go abroad that, hey, don't go abroad, stay in Uganda and start poultry farming, my answer to that will be, with which money exactly? Because we all know poultry farming is capital intensive. You will need money. You need money to buy chicks. In poultry farming, we've been advised that the number of chicks that make some bit of business sense, something which can enable you to make some profit, it's actually 500. Now, if you are looking at starting a farm of 500 birds, let's imagine you are zeroing at improved local chickens. Just to purchase the chicks, you will need to part out with 1.5, just that. How about the money for the feeds? To raise those birds up to, let's say, 3.5 months. And then not to mention the utilities, not to mention the medicine, all that. That means the money is going to be a bit more. And now you're telling this young man or woman who has been asked very little fee, probably just process the passport, because most of them, before they secure the jobs, they have already gotten the employers, and the employers do all the work for them. They have sent for them the visa, and everything is already processed. The only thing left is for this candidate to get a passport, and they go start work. And so that is like 250 Ugandan shillings to process the passport. And the other fee they may be required to incur in is actually maybe transport fees, because most of them come from far away to come in Kampala to process their passports, and maybe to transport them from here to where they would be departing from. So you can see that at most someone is asked maybe for 500,000 Ugandan shillings to go do a job which is going to pay them, let's say, 1M per month, and you're telling them to stay and start a poultry farm to which they have zero capital. So I've just mentioned the capital load. This is someone who has never even raised a single chicken in their entire life. But we shouldn't worry about that, because some actually get these trainings within a day and they're able to raise birds. So for the skills, these ones can be acquired easily. Excuse me. How about the market? Because it's one thing raising all the birds and starting the farm, and now your chicken products are ready. How about the market? Where are you going to sell your chicken products? And as we all know, the Ugandan market is so unstable. It's so unpredictable and very hard to find. For that particular reason, it's very hard to find this market. So as you can see, this is not something you're just going to throw onto someone and, hey, start a poultry farm. There's so many things which are required, So poultry farming is profitable, and it could be really an option. It could be really a good choice for these guys who are going to be restricted from going abroad. However, there are so many things our government needs to work on to just make to make the atmosphere a safe ground for these young people. But telling someone to farm, actually there is this ongoing trend on social media, nti ojja kulima osaaga, no matter what you shall farm. That's what actually they are making fun of, the fact that this government wants everyone to go and farm. But telling someone to go and farm without you giving them access to capital, and then access to affordable inputs, but also access to the market is not the solution, you know. But this poultry farming industry can be such a big solution, you know, to this unemployment problem, because there are so many opportunities in there. The problem is, most of us, when we think about poultry farming, we imagine this one farmer raising these birds. But what we forget is that there is an entire chain behind this farmer, you know. Let's imagine someone is raising 1,000 birds or 10,000 birds. This person will need to purchase their old chicks. That is an opportunity. So there are people who are employed already in this section of their old chicks hatching, those hatcheries, the people who work in hatcheries. So that's one opportunity. And then this farmer will also need to buy feed. They'll have to feed these birds. That's also another opportunity, because the birds have to be fed. So we shall need feed companies to come in. The people premixes, the people concentrates. Those are all opportunities depending on this one chicken. Also, let's talk about the veterinary shops. These chickens, these birds need medicine, need vitamins. They need to be checked out. Also another opportunity there. But when this bird has already been raised, you know, it needs to be bought. So we are having the brokers in here, the buyers, the chicken buyers. You know, the restaurants need this chicken to serve it, to sell to its customers, the hotels, the schools. So you can imagine there are thousands of people behind this single chicken. There's so many opportunities. So if Uganda genuinely want to make, you know, changes and make these young people stay, and at that point, if you're looking at poultry farming, and we want to make it a real employment, I would suggest some of the few things we can actually work on. Number one, access to capital. Poultry farming is capital intensive, and therefore we need these young people to have access to capital. I'm not saying that we give money to, you know, we just cash out money to people. But what I'm saying that we need real financing, which understands agriculture, which understands poultry farming. Actually, this government policy of PDM would be really a good solution. That's if the beneficiaries were really getting the money. The other thing that would make poultry farming a real employment is access to market. What's the point of you raising actually 5,000 birds when you do not know where to sell them? On my channel here, many of you have been advocating for cooperatives. That would be a very good solution, because we need strong networks between the farmers and the buyers of this product. So there are so many ways that actually government can create market for the farmers and their products. And if you know some of them, you can actually suggest them in the comment section below. The other way that really the government would make this a very, like a real employment, is access to affordable inputs. Inputs like feeds. You know, let the government come in and, you know, let it come in to solve these feed high prices. The inputs like medicine, the inputs like equipment. Those things are quite expensive, and they make it almost impossible for a young person to carry out poultry farming. So there are so many things we can actually talk about to make poultry farming a real employment. But at this point, that's what I could suggest, and we can further this discussion in the comment section below. What's your take on what the government is trying to do? Because you never know, whatever we discuss here might shape the government's policies. Whenever it's coming out with policies, maybe you could look back at this video and say, oh, someone suggested on Firdausi's channel that we should do this and that. Okay, until next time, I'm going to see you tomorrow and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.